To all my queens, throw your hands up. Yeah, yeah. Goes by the name of Mr. Calvin Hutchins. Welcome to the show.
Ladies, are you feeling alright? All the queens, throw your hands up high. You need to know one thing about you. How you shine so bright. 'Cause how you shine.
Welcome everybody to the Lavish Show. I am Dr. Shira Stallworth. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shira Stallworth. We also have a new episode of the Up Close with the Prophet show coming out, so you don't want to miss that either. But on today's show, we will have film directors, producers, movies, and actors all on the set today. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Lavish Show. Guest on the set today. Her name is Ms.Schledia Phillips. Nice to meet you.
Oh, so nice to meet you.
I'm so glad that you're here. For everybody that know, the show, we usually do things in the community and supporting organizations, but this time I wanted to support my authors, my writers, my film directors, and producers. So Ms.Schledia is here because she is a well-known author. So tell our audience, how did you get into writing?
Well, writing is something that I did even as a child. But I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, so I would write a chapter or two of something, write a short story, and I'd tear it up and throw it away. And then, even in college, I would still write a little bit. I had these stories in the heart that I wanted to tell, but I just did not think that I could accomplish it. I didn't think I could do it. And I went through a really rough time. Whenever I was a teenager, a really difficult time, I struggled with depression. There just came a point where I'll never forget it, I was sitting in my van and I heard this sentence in my head, plain. That was a word that I knew quite well. It described me perfectly. And that's how I had always felt about myself. And it just came to me. And I pulled out an envelope out of my purse and I wrote that down. Wow. And that was the beginning of Plain Jane.
Wow. And Plain Jane is this book here that's featured. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that book, Plain Jane. Who's it based on and what inspired you to write it?
Well, what inspired me to write Plain Jane was the things that I had been through in my own life. But putting your own story out there is really personal. Okay. So I didn't want to do that. So I created a character who saw herself in the same way that I saw myself growing up. I made her have the level of intelligence that I wanted to have. When I was growing up, she's very, very intelligent, and but that's where she never felt pretty. She always felt plain. But she found her strength in her intelligence.
Wow.
And so, but at the same time, because she didn't have confidence in herself, whenever a person has a low self-esteem, they can be a really great, wonderful person and still be taken down a very dark path because of that low self-esteem. And that's what I wanted to explore. And I wanted to give people, a lot of times people don't understand depression when they don't experience it, so I wanted to write through the eyes of a person struggling with depression that journey, going into that, and how it can take a really seemingly wonderful person and spiral their life into a place of them doing things you would have never imagined them doing, and even to the point of attempting suicide.
Wow. So this book is sort of like a testimonial book, really, in my point of view, dealing with depression.
Yes.
Even like you said, suicide. Is there a message, like a clear message on how to overcome that, or is there something in the book to kind of help your readers?
Yeah, there is. It kind of gives the journey of how she comes to that place of devastation in her life, and then you follow her story as she comes through that. So there's little nuggets of things in there that I learned through my own walk in life that I placed in there. Now, it's not, a doctor's viewpoint on it, but it's from the point of somebody who's been through it.
Right, and I love that because, like, we have all type of writers, like you mentioned earlier, Stephen King, and
Yeah.
you know, different Tyler Perry, different authors, you know. But I love to read books that we can base our life upon. You know,
Yeah.
if there's a nugget in there that can change my direction, I want to know how to change my direction. So you also wrote another book, Pretty Boy. Now, how
Yes.
was that? You know, brought?
Well, Pretty Boy actually is a companion novel to Plain Jane. So
Okay.
in Plain Jane, you meet a character named Ray.
Uh,
Plain Jane is written through Erilyn's eyes, and Pretty Boy is written through Ray's eyes. It's his story. And in chapter 11 of both books, the characters' stories begin to intertwine. And so from that point on, you're reading the same story just from a different point of view.
So that is very creative. So if you're gonna get this book, you need to get Pretty Boy too. This is awesome.
Yeah, they do
And,
go together.
Yeah, I mean, I am amazed. And for my viewers, this is Miss Brooke J. Brown's mother. So, and you know Brooke, she's my camera lady. She helps with the organization, Creative Women Enterprises. She's also recording this show today. So I give her a big shout out because I appreciate her so much. So she was like, you haven't met my mother, have you? I was like, no. So my mom produced a movie. She's an author. So she's on the show today because I want you to know who this woman is. She's a queen, and we have not recognized her enough on the coast. So I'm pretty sure you're going to see her at some of my events that we have in the community. You know, just to piggyback off of Pretty Boy, was that based on to someone that you met?
No. His character is really just kind of created because he was the character that you met in Plain Jane, and so I had to come up with who do I want this character to be. I had to kind of create him from scratch.
Right.
Whenever I was going into that one.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, is there a spiritual side to your writing?
Well, there is. I'm a Christian. And you see the spiritual side in Wildflowers. Now, I don't
Okay.
really touch on God really in Plain Jane or Pretty Boy outside of, you know, there's a point where Erilyn in Plain Jane starts to question God.
Okay.
You know, why does God hate me? Why is God angry with me? Because when you're in depression, that's what you feel.
Yeah.
So when I was writing them, as a believer, I didn't want to necessarily be preachy in the books. I wanted to just tell these stories, but I also wanted to put little nuggets in there. So there are
Right.
nuggets within them, but in Wildflowers, I actually present the gospel.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with Ms.Schledia Phillips. Hey, this is Shira from The Lavish Show. If you would like to be our guest, advertise your business, or even run your commercial, please contact us at creativewomenenterprises@gmail.com. We would love to showcase what you do to the world. We even have sponsorship packages available. So please contact us today at creativewomenenterprises@gmail.com. Welcome back, everybody, to The Lavish Show. We're going to go into a quick clip from the movie Wildflowers from producer Ms.Schledia Phillips.
My mother always insisted good can't come from a bad seed.
Pastor?
I got it.
I believe in caring about all people, even those who get labeled by teachers as bad seeds.
Whatever.
But I believe God could do it.
We're both wildflowers.
I believe there was good in everyone. But I learned the hard way, there's not.
Can't get rid of the evil in you. He was born of it.
She approves of him and his background, where he's from. Just be careful. Motorcycles are dangerous.
And I'll be damned if I let my daughter date the son of a drunkard and a murderer.
is bad in you.
Okay, that is awesome. So proud of you, and being a woman that's stepping out of your comfort zone, presenting your story to the world is such a blessing. And I know I want to do more work with you and bring you on my other show, Up Close with the Prophets, because I already can sense that there's ministry in you. Okay, so I'm just glad that you're here. What else do you have going on right now?
Well, I actually have a Bible teaching called Basic Training, Becoming Armed Soldiers in Christ, that is out there. It's available in English and in Swahili, so it's in 5 different countries within Africa. And so I was really excited about that whenever that translation came along and the door being opened. It was really exciting to me.
Wow.
And so I have that out there, and then I'm presently working on a new book called Crossroads.
Wow. And you know, one thing, I'm working on my book, you know, The Life of a Prophetess, and it has volumes to it. What would you advise a future upcoming author, you know, to keep them encouraged? What should they be doing? How to put their book out? And we might have to do a session on all that stuff at another time.
Yeah.
But how would you advise an upcoming author?
Well, I would say, one, whenever you have a time where you have writer's block come up, don't let that discourage you. Every writer goes through it. There are times whenever I just can't make myself write. And there are some people that'll tell you, it doesn't matter, you have to write every day. Well, sometimes life doesn't permit that.
Yeah.
So sometimes don't beat yourself up over that. If you have to go through a space of time, that inspiration will come back.
It will come.
And find your source of inspiration. It might be a CD with particular praise and worship music that just brings something up in you. Whatever it is, just use that. And whenever you've completed your work, I suggest getting a beta reader.
Okay.
And that's just, a beta reader is just, they're the ones who are going to look at it. They're going to, after you, they're going to come back and they're going to say, you know, give you some input. They're not going to check grammar. They're going to check content. They're going to say, okay, I didn't follow along in this part, or you know what, this was really wonderful. Maybe you should expound on it more.
Right.
And after you get that, implement that, then just make sure that you get it professionally edited. Have a wonderful mark.
I know. I was talking to you earlier about working on a doctorate degree. Before you finish that, you have to become an author, because you got to put your research out there where people can follow and research and do what you say. And the number one thing is to edit it. And, and that can get expensive.
It can.
And getting it out there. So, and then of course you go through a publishing. Did you self-publish or had another company publish?
I do. I'm independently published. So, but no, I'm not self-published. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference there between self-published and independent publishing. Because I'll pay for the covers, and I'll pay for the editing, and I pay for the work that's done for all that, the formatting and all that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you. Anything else you want to tell our audience today, how we can contact you, and how we can search for your books and movies?
Well, my books are available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and those websites and all usually carry them. The soundtrack is available through iTunes as well, I heard. So I wasn't aware of that because I don't have an iPhone. I'm an Android person. Amazon is the biggest place of getting that. And contacting me, I have a Facebook page. Schledia Phillips author. And I also have a blog that is called Pinky's Epiphanies. My nickname is Pinky. And so that basically is little spiritual insights every once in a while that I have. I'll just put those out there. So I call it Pinky's Epiphanies.
Wow, and you got Pretty Boy and Plain Jane here.
Yes.
I am so impressed. Oh my goodness. Yes. All right. Well, thank y'all. We'll be back. And thank you, Ms. Phillips, for coming
thank you for
to
having
the
me.
Lavish show. You'll be back.
From my block to your block, we are here to stay. Jesus all day, every day we pray for a change to come. He's the only way. Wait to escape the pains of yesterday. From my block to your block, we are here to stay. Jesus all day, every day we pray for a change to come. He's the only way. Wait to escape the pains of yesterday. As I look out of my window, see babies on the corner selling that dope, trying to make another donor out of a man being deprived of a need. Could only be self-expressed when he followed his needs. Give thanks to the Father who all blessing flow. Stop murdering your brother who buys your dope. Let's give him a helping hand and fix his need from society. Butcher his mind as they please. Word up to all the knowledge learned on the street, but it doesn't give peace to the prostitute and need pimp. We keep it pimping when we chase paper trail. Life is good until everything else fails. Message, the real message is to follow Yeshua. Give him your life and he will